Hi, my name is Micah. This is my project about the effects of child maltreatment, abuse, and neglect by Micah Bank. The table of context. This is just gonna go through what we're gonna, go through about. We're gonna start with the abstracts. Then we're gonna go through the review. Then we're gonna go through the methods. Then the results, and then the discussion. So for abstract, this project is just going to be about how child abuse and neglect can really affect a child's damage. Like this could really mess them up for life. This could a permanent effect of how to really destroy a child's life. There's many forms of maltreatment, including physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and the most popular one is actually child neglect and exposure to domestic violence, where it's like they're in a toxic family household where the father or the mother just abuses each other. Now, after gathering reliable data on child maltreatment on a national scale, we've gathered enough research and knowledge to really inform the viewer or reader about this. And this is what we're going to be doing. So, to review or what we've already found out about child maltreatment, this could, like I said before, this could permanently damage or stun a child's development, including their neural or brain plasticity. And plasticity is just when a child or a human in general, their brain rewires itself due to an experience or due to injury. For example, if I put my hand on a hot stove and I get burned, my brain's gonna tell me don't do that anymore because you're gonna get burned. But when a child grows up in a toxic household, this really messes up their neuroplasticity because it makes it normal. The brain adapts to the situation and it makes it normal. For example, if I beat my child very bad, then the child's gonna grow up thinking that's okay, and he's gonna do that to maybe his wife or even his other child. And another thing to get into fact too, if a child is also consistently exposed to stress hormones, this could also lead to mutation in the structure of the function of the brains, which include processing emotion and making decisions. So if a child is constantly exposed to stress, their emotions become very null and very dumb, and the decision making they just wouldn't uh, be as large as it really should be. But overall, the effects of child maltreatment and the effects it takes on neuroplasticity is significantly damaging. And it just highlights how important this topic is and how we should really make sure we're looking over our children. So for the methods of the study that was used, the method was made by Countel LL. The study used a different approach to discover the behaviors of emotions on children who've experienced neglect, abuse, or child maltreatment. Variables that are related to child maltreatment were used, and for example, like age groups, and they were used by systemized assessment tools like questionnaires or interviews. T-tests or inference statistics were also used to compare the differences between neglected children and non-neglected children. And for our poll, we really try to get a very big poll to account for everybody. So we had different ages, different races, poor kids, rich kids. The only person that wasn't in our poll was kids with special needs. But to conclude, this methodology would inform the reader by helping them understand the consequences of neglect and abuse, and this would also help when it comes to the results. So for the results were kind of very shocking, but I really wasn't like it wasn't non-expected. So for the results, you could see the valuable insight of child abuse and neglect. With the like I said before, there was a questionnaire, and the questionnaire really just stated, um, um children already have attachment styles, but when they're neglected or when they're abused, they have very toxic attachment styles. For example, if a child was neglected, it would show that they would have an anxious, oblivion attachment style when it comes to self-esteem or self-confidence, which means they would have very, very low confidence. And when they were non-neglected or non-abused, it was the exact opposite. And it also comes the severity as well. So the more they're abused, the lower their self-esteem is. The less they're abused, the higher the self-esteem is. Grades were also very, very impactful. And this doesn't mean that the kids are losing smart or like they're getting dumber, but it just means that they just can't focus in class because we also did another study where it shows where we make these kids take a test, but they would have the exact same results as non-neglected kids. So when grades come into play, it doesn't really assess or it doesn't really show that the kids IQ because there's other stuff going on at home. And however, those inconsistencies as neglected children actually had better problem solving and planning abilities than non-neglected children. I think this just comes to show in a neglected household is very less, predictable. You never know what you're gonna run into. So I feel like this is how they have a better problem solving or better planning abilities than non-neglected children. And the discussion is right here. So to conclude, the results show a significant abuse in America, and they also show how child abuse or child neglect in such various domains, such as development and education, is really, really important, and we really have to look out for it. These findings further prove the cause of how dangerous the effects really are, and how child abuse and neglect are really, really, really damaging our youth today. And I think one thing we really have to look on is the people that work with kids, or the people, sorry about that, the people that work with kids, or the people that are teachers, or the people that are caregivers. They really need to look out for this stuff, because the quicker is always the better. We can really save a lot of children with just a little bit more aware, just a little bit more focus. However, like I said before, this study did overlook learning difficulties for unique children that have special abuse that were also neglected. um we really couldn't find a lot of information, or a lot of stable information about these kids. But hopefully future research should be aimed at standardizing definitions of child neglect and impact, so we could also add those groups into the next research. And that is pretty much my entire presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a great day.